It's often said that it's a very, very small world, but I promise you, as we get into this interview, you'll find out again just how true it is. A few months back, I believe it was somebody in the front office said, "There's a new person moving in today. If you will stop by and say hi." I didn't ask a name. I didn't ask anything about her. And I walked in, and I'm Catherine Jones, and I'm going to interview Pam Jones. Welcome, Pam. And you heard my introduction of you.
Yes.
And you tell me from your side of it when I walked in your apartment.
Well, it was crazy. That whole day was crazy. The kids were unpacking things and running around, and this blonde bombshell walked in, and she said, "Hi, my name is Catherine Jones. Here's my number. Call me if you need anything." I said, "Okay." Well, after you left, and then I think you called a couple of days later to stop by or something, and from then on it was Katie bar the door.
Absolutely.
We have had the best time together, I think.
Right. And we've almost known each other for 60 years?
Almost.
Yeah.
If it weren't for just a passing thing, we would have known each other for real.
Yeah, right.
Really.
And it has gone that way.
Yeah.
And it started back, we'll do a little bit of history, then we'll
Okay.
get into more things about you. Is that when I found out that your husband was, I know I'll end up calling him Johnny.
That's
but
okay.
John
That's
Jones. And I went, wait a minute. John Jones went to high school at Crescent, where I went,
Yes.
and my dad coached him.
Yes.
So you told me some wonderful things that John had told you about my dad, which was really
will.
nice.
You know, we have talked about different, where we graduated. And I graduated from Ponca City High School, which had a graduating class of almost 600.
Yeah.
And John said, well, my graduating class wasn't very many. And he was telling me about, he had almost decided not to go to college. But he said his football coach had really convinced him that he needed to do that. He needed a man to step up and do that. His dad was, not that capable of doing that kind of thing.
And he was really busy
Advising.
working.
He was busy working, and he thought if John just got a job out of high school, he'd be fine. And he would have been, but the high school coach was the one who really pushed him
Yeah.
to go to college and to do something. And then when we got to talking and you said, well, my dad was the football coach at Crescent, it was just like light bulbs and fireworks went off. I thought, this man is the one who made John into the person that he was.
That's so neat.
You
So
know.
neat. And then when I said, well, and then John went to school at NOC Northern, and I did.
Yeah.
And then I transferred to Northwestern and Albert, and he did, and you were in school there.
Yes, I had started right after high school, and I was a year younger. And long story short, I met him. He kept calling me. Finally, we arranged a blind date because he knew so many people that I knew from Ponca City, and we went out on a blind date, and the rest is history.
Right.
We ended up getting married, several years later.
Well, and Harvey here.
Yes. Harvey,
You taught with Harvey.
I taught with Harvey. Harvey was a principal at one of the elementary schools, and I taught at the middle school and the high school, but I had dealings with Harvey a lot, and we called him Harvey Bill. And so he told me the other day, he says, whenever I hear anybody call me Harvey Bill, he said, I know it's somebody from my past.
Is that his real full name?
Yeah, it's Harvey Bill Reg.
Oh.
Yeah, Harvey Bill.
Well, it's funny, shortly after Harvey moved in, we were talking about something, and he was telling me different places he had taught. And then I said, well, I don't know if you know the Tomberlin family. And he had my sister-in-law in class. So you and I were talking about it, and you said, well, we weren't even talking about Harvey.
No, we were
I said-
talking about relatives and Tomberlins.
Right.
And I said, I had Michelle Tomberlin in class. And you picked up your phone and called her.
I said, guess who I'm sitting with? I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah, it was. It
Yeah.
was just weird. And there are so many things that you and I have discussed. Food likes, people that we've known, that you knew, that I knew, that we didn't know that we knew.
Right, right.
And it has just been amazing. It's been amazing. And then, do you want me to tell about your niece-in-law?
Oh, sure.
John was the director of Northwest Family Services.
And he created that.
Well, a bunch of lawyers and a judge decided to start that, and they asked him to be the first director.
And
So-
what was the name of the center and what did it do?
Northwest Family Services, and it took care of young people, counseling. If there was a dilemma at home, they provided a place for them to stay. And anyway, he hired three people right off the bat, two of whom were right out of college, Brenda Rose and Kathy Gordon. And Brenda, later in life, had a child named Shannon, who later married your nephew.
My nephew.
So we're practically related,
I know,
Catherine.
I know.
So don't do anything to embarrass me, okay? Because we're family
Well, we need
now.
to talk then.
Okay.
Yeah, we really need to talk. So tell me, why did you get into education?
It was something that I always wanted to do. It seems to me like when I was growing up, a woman could either be a nurse, a secretary, or a teacher. And I thought, being an elementary teacher would be right up my alley. And I started in with the elementary classes, and I was bored out of my gourd because they were going over things that I already knew, and I did not find it interesting at all. I found it very dull. So I went home and did some serious thinking about it, and I decided to change to English. I majored in English with almost a secondary major in math. My first job was in Altus, and I taught 7th grade math, 8th grade, I want to say delinquent math, and 9th grade delinquent math.
Yes.
And those were the children who did not want to take math and would cause all sorts of troubles to get out of it. And so when they got kicked out of their regular classes, they got to come to see me.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I was the winner. And so when we got married and I moved to Alva, the only opening was a 7th grade math position.
Oh.
So instead of teaching English, I went on to teach 7th grade math.
Oh, very good.
And eventually I did teach some English, 7th and 8th grade English. And then I went on to teach high school math, delinquent math. And I got my master's in psychometry, which is educational testing.
Yeah.
And I did that for several years. And then because I was working so closely with the special ed department, I eventually became special ed director.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was special ed director for the last few years, and I did the testing. I ended up taking early retirement because the stress was really getting to me. And sometimes parents aren't very nice when you call them into a meeting.
Oh, you're not calling in to tell them their kids are wonderful?
Really, not always.
Oh, okay.
Not always.
Okay.
Sometimes, but not always.
Tell me about children. You have children?
I have children. We have 3 children. Amanda lives in Edmond with her family, and they have two children. Aiden is 17, and Nora is 12. And Colin lives in Oklahoma City. He works in Moore at a physical therapy place. And my middle child is Travis, and he lives in Sulphur with his family.
Oh, very
And
good.
he has a son, Cash, who is 13, and a daughter, Cora Ray, who is 7.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Great having grandchildren, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I had heard it was good, but
Yeah. And I have read that, if I had known that grandchildren were this much fun, I would have had them first.
Yes, right.
So I wish that would have been possible.
Right,
I
right.
probably would have been a better mother.
Right. Tell me about arriving at Epworth.
Since I was so far away from my family and on my own, my children had been pushing me to move closer to them. And then I developed some health issues, and I had a fall outside. And I decided that was a sign that I needed to move down this way. We had looked at Epworth for John,
Oh,
and
very good.
had not sent him at the time. So the kids looked at different places around the Oklahoma City area, and when they looked at Epworth, they said, "This is 110% where you need to be." So my other son and I came down and looked at it, and they were right. It was 110% where I need to be. The staff, the people that live here, the people that work here, everybody is top-notch, just top-notch. I haven't met anybody that has been grouchy or ugly or sharp or, disagreeable in any way, shape, or form.
We need to talk.
Okay.
There's one or two toads here, but I'm still working on them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Very good. Well, I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm so glad that we're almost related. And I know we have great, wonderful things ahead of us, and you have wonderful things ahead of you here at Epworth.
Thank you.
You bet.
I'm looking forward to it.
Very
I'm
good.
really looking forward to it.
Very good. I appreciate you being here. Thank you much.
Bye.